A very good evening and welcome. This is Newsfirst Primetime News on the 3rd of June 2024, bringing you the news for the Newsfirst team. I am Jamal Ratnayaka.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekar, and here are your headlines for tonight.
"16 lives lost in Sri Lanka due to adverse weather conditions." President in Kolonnava to assess flood damages. Instructs officials to expedite relief distribution. Multiple schools in Sabaragamuwa, western and southern provinces closed due to adverse weather. Several districts including Colombo to experience rainfall. Rangi Bandara says proposal for referendum was put forward as per provisions of the Constitution. Talks in Singapore to make Ranil the president and Sajith prime minister. A revelation from ACMC's national organizer. Sri Lanka take on South Africa in ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup.
In your top story tonight, Sri Lankan authorities have confirmed that 16 people have died as a result of the adverse weather conditions that battered the country over the weekend. The Disaster Management Centre said that 5 others remain missing in the Galle and Mathura districts. Earlier this evening, it was reported that a section of the Gampaha town was flooded due to the overflowing of the Attanagaloya. Sri Lanka police said that several areas, including the area around the Gampaha railway station, bus stand, as well as the Gampaha Jayala and Gampaha Minuwangoda road, remain flooded.
Police said that vehicular movement was disrupted as a result. The Disaster Management Centre said a section of the Kaduwela town was flooded due to overflowing of the Kalani River. Motorists have been advised to use alternative routes. Police also said the Kaduwela interchange on the expressway network is completely closed due to flooding.
On Sunday morning, Avisavella, Puakpitia and Elliston Watha experienced a significant surge in water flow. According to reports, this sudden stream of water originated from the Egoda Canal near Elliston Estate. Tragically, 3 members of the same family lost their lives in the Elliston Estate due to the flood that occurred after midnight. Among the victims were a 36-year-old woman, her 7-year-old daughter and her 78-year-old father. Today, the last rites for all 3 family members were conducted and they were laid to rest in a private flower shop in the Salava area. Fortunately, local residents were able to intervene and save woman's other 3 children and her mother. A total of 325 people belonging to 85 families in the Egodagama and Elliston Watha areas were affected by the floods. On Monday, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena visited the location.
Just as during the tsunami, we need to declare the emergency for the entire area. Houses, businesses will fall in this category. Then it is easy to identify the criteria. The assessment process will be followed and you can continue with the program without any fear.
Debris that blocked the Egodagama Canal were removed. According to locals, the blockage led to the flash floods that battered the area.
කෝටි ගානක ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකක් අරගෙන භාගයට කරලා තියෙන්නේ හරියට මේ ඇල මේ හාරලා වතුර බයින්න හදලා දෙන්න ඕන.
තාලෙට එනකොට වතුර තිබුණේ නැහැ. ඊට පස්සේ මෙන්න මෙතන දොර ඇර ගන්න බෑ. අන්තිමට වතුර එනවා බේර වෙන්න විදියක් නැතුව අපි අර උඩට නැගලා වහලේ කඩාගෙන තමයි ගියේ. අපි ඉල්ලන්නේ එකම දේ අපිට කිසිම දෙයක් එපා. පර්චස් පහක හරි අපිට මේ පැත්තේ ඉන්න මිනිසුන්ට ඉඩම් කැලලක් ලබා දෙන්න.
වතුර ආපු ගම මේ දෙන්නා නැග්ගෙව්ව උඩට. උඩ නැගලා කරම කියා ගන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. කොටුම් වෙලා හිටියේ. ඊට පස්සේ වහලේ කල්ලා වහලේ උඩ හිටියේ එළියට ගම.
කිසිම කෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා උදව්වක් කළා නැහැ කැම දීලා තියෙනවා මේ ගමේ මිනිස්සු. දත් ටිකක් මැද ගන්න බ්‍රෂ් එකක් නැහැ.
අගමැතිතුමා ආවා. ඇහිලා පාරේ කෙළවරට ගියා. දැන් ඇල දෙපසක කොටසක් ඉන්නවනේ. දැන් මේ කොටස ආවෙත් නැහැ. එහා පැත්තට ආවෙත් නැහැ.
Speaking during a joint media briefing in Colombo today, the State Minister of Defence said a program was launched to broaden data collection with regard to weather forecasts.
අපි කාලගුණ විද්‍යා දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව නව්‍යකරණයේ ව්‍යාපෘතියක් පටන් අරන් තියෙන්නේ.
We launched a project to modernize the Department of Meteorology. When implementing a project with a loan obtained from the World Bank, it is an extensive process which takes time. With regard to technology, with the assistance of JICA and Japan, we hope to establish a Doppler radar. The tender process is being done in Japan. Thereafter, the initial work will commence here in August. We are hoping to commence the relevant work by June. However, it is out of our control. Modernizing the Department of Meteorology is crucial and will be favorable to the country. We are prioritizing it.
අපි කල්පනා කරනවා ඒ සඳහා අපේ ප්‍රමුඛත්වය ලබා දීලා තිබෙනවා.
මේ අධික වර්ෂාපතනය දැන්
We can expect a gradual decrease in the prevailing heavy showers based on our analysis. That doesn't mean the rains will cease. Monsoon rains will continue in the western, Sabaragamuwa, southern, central and northwestern provinces, so intermittent showers can be expected over the next few days. There will be no heavy rainfall and it will not have an adverse effect on the people. However, we cannot say for certain that floods will not occur again during the period between May till September.
Several areas, including Ambatale Old Road, are inundated due to the Kalani River overflowing. Newsfirst correspondent said the water levels in Kalanimulla have increased and the area has been inundated since yesterday. Evacuation efforts were ongoing this evening as well to rescue people in flood-affected areas. Kohilavatta is also inundated, with the area surrounding the public cemetery also affected. The water gauge on Nagalagam Street was recorded as 6 feet as of this morning. Flooding was also reported from Kalani Nadigama and Velevatta in Vallampitiya. Many houses in the area were also inundated and people are being directed to safe locations since last night. Efforts were taken this morning to remove floodwaters in Velevatta near Kalupalama, Sedavatta. The water gauge of the Kalani River in Hangwella was recorded at over 9 feet this morning. Low-lying areas including Sivalivatta, Valauvatta, Godaparagodella, Iriagolla and Jaivirugoda were inundated. Houses in Attanagalla, Veyangoda, Paluvatta, Dunamale and Kaha-Ovita were also inundated and people have sought shelter at the Masjidul Aminia Jumma Mosque in Tiharia. Boats were used to evacuate affected people in Veyangoda and surrounding areas. Newsfirst correspondent said many houses in Medavatta were inundated as a result of the Diyali Oya in Veyangoda overflowing. The Pasyala Girilla road was inundated from Gallamuna. A section of the Pallevela town was also underwater this morning. Low-lying areas surrounding Delvala Maladeniya were inundated due to the overflowing of the Kuda Oya. Attanagalu Oya has exceeded major flood level in Dunamale. Several areas including Kirindivita, Akaravita, Kakulangoda, Ratmalvita and Makilangamuwa were underwater as of this morning. The Gampaha Kandana Road and Gampaha Jayala Road are currently underwater from Kirindivita and Akaravita. Floodwaters remained in Gampaha and surrounding areas. The Horana Matugama main road was underwater from Bellapitiya as a result of the Kalu River overflowing. According to Newsfirst's correspondents, vehicular movement in the area had come to a complete standstill. Due to the overflowing of the Kalu River in Liangoda and Ukwatta, houses in several villages including Remuna were inundated. The Kaltara District Disaster Management Centre said the Kalu River is nearing spill level. People in surrounding areas have been informed to remain vigilant. In more related news, President Ranil Wickremesinghe embarked on an observation tour of the Kolonnawa, Kalaniya and Ambatale areas to assess the welfare of individuals affected by floods and other disasters resulting from adverse weather conditions.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe instructed officials to provide immediate relief to the people affected by adverse weather conditions. The locals also presented their grievances to the President.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has directed officials to refrain from permitting new construction in the Kalli River Valley to regulate the river water levels. During his visit, the President also inspected the Ambatale Galvana Purana Rajamahaviharaya, where displaced individuals are sheltered, as well as the Sedavatta Veharagoda Purana Rajamahaviharaya. Additionally, he visited the security centres of Kolonnava Terrace, S. Silva College and Vallampita Community College to inquire about the well-being of the people and instructed officials to address their needs promptly and continuously. Sagala Ratnayaka, the President's senior advisor on national security and chief of presidential staff, announced to offer relief to those affected by disasters by revising relevant circulars. This announcement was made during a discussion held at the Kolonnava Divisional Secretariat. Notably, representatives from the Armed Forces and the Inspector General of Police also participated in the discussion.
The President is committed to alleviating the suffering of the people and restoring the situation. Specifically, he has announced that houses that have been completely damaged will be constructed promptly with the assistance of the armed forces and the police. Additionally, changes are being made to the circulars for the distribution of food. Previously, these provisions were only given to individuals seeking refuge in designated safe locations. However, the policy has now been revised and all those affected by the calamity will receive necessary aid. Kolonnava is a low-lying area where water tends to accumulate. Unfortunately, there is an issue with water not draining properly from this region into the river. As a result, residents of small houses in Kolonnava often avoid relocating to camps during floods. I discussed the matter with the President. Sagala Ratnayaka attended a discussion where a decision was made to provide assistance to everyone affected. The focus extends beyond compensation. It encompasses flood control, land management, food distribution, security measures, access to clean water and health sector activities. Priority is to manage floods effectively and ensure the well-being of the people. We extend a special invitation to the JVP. The SJB has already joined us and other parties are actively participating. Now is the ideal moment for the JVP to showcase their commitment. Let's seize this opportunity to collaborate without party divisions and work together. I was not invited. I was in touch with the divisional secretary and that is how I got to know about the meeting. I did not receive a special invitation. I came here after I was made aware of the meeting.
The Atudava rock embankment is in place to ensure the impact caused to the Mathura town is limited in the event of the Nilwala river overflowing. Our cameras captured the situation at the location this evening. Newsfirst correspondents noted that water overflowing from the embankment is flowing towards Sultanagoda through Godagama and Jayanti Palama. Assistant Director of the Disaster Management Unit of the Mathura district, Lieutenant Colonel Aryavansha Kandambi said, if overflowing continues, the risk of travelling to areas such as Palatua, Hithatia and Godagama would increase. Floods have affected areas such as Talgahagoda, Sonnadaragoda, Malimbada and Kadduwa. A house in Talgahagoda was underwater in this manner. The Malimbada, Valletota and Kadduwa roads were also flooded. Water had accumulated on the Polatugoda road as a result of the Kirama Ara Oya overflowing. Homes in Athuralia, Akurasa were also flooded. Daily lives of locals in the southern province have been adversely affected owing to disruptions in vehicular movement caused by multiple roads in the southern province being flooded as a result of incessant rains. Many houses in Ransayagoda Mathura were also underwater. People are in distress owing to houses and roads in Kamrupitia and its vicinity being underwater. The Department of Irrigation states the Gin River is currently at major flood level. Newsfirst correspondent said 3 main roads from Baddegama to Nagoda and Agalia to Dodangoda are flooded, while areas such as Baddegama, Agalia, Nagoda and Hikaduwa are flooded. Low-lying areas such as Bambarahikada, Navakkada, Mulkada, Inimankada and Patha Valley falling under the purview of the Vallivita Divitura Divisional Secretariat are flooded. The Disaster Management Unit of the Gaul district has informed those residing in the lower part of the Gin River to remain vigilant. Vehicular movement was disrupted in Kahava and Akurala this evening owing to sea waves crashing onto the main road. Debris accumulated on the Wakwella Bridge has stalled the water of the Gin River from receding. This is the manner in which lowlands in Wakwella and Oluwagoda are currently flooded. Vehicular movement was disrupted due to the Udugama town and the Nelluwa road being flooded. Low-lying areas around Mapalagama were also flooded. Newsfirst correspondents said the Pitigala, Katagoda and Gaul roads were all flooded. Our correspondent said although low-lying areas of the Nelluwa town were underwater, floods had receded in certain locations. The Sri Lanka Air Force has been placed on standby to provide relief and address emergency situations. A Bell 412 helicopter was deployed to evacuate 412 people who are unable to reach safe locations in Nelluwa Gaul. The latest situation on floods were observed today with the use of a Y-12 aircraft.
Sri Lanka's Education Ministry has reached a decision to close schools in certain areas due to adverse weather conditions.
The Ministry of Education stated that all schools in the Kegaul and Ratnapura districts in the Sabaragamuwa province, all schools in the Gaul and Matra districts in the southern province, and all schools in the Kalutara district and Homagama zone in the western province will remain closed tomorrow. All schools in the Gampaha zone will remain closed tomorrow as well. In addition, all schools in the Kaduwela and Kalaniya zones will remain closed tomorrow. It added that schools in other provinces and regions will continue to function as usual from tomorrow. The ministry said that decisions related to conducting school activities will be based on the weather situation and will be communicated to the zonal education directors by their respective authorities. The Election Commission will be empowered to proclaim the date for the presidential election in 44 days. In the midst of natural disasters such as heavy rains, gale winds, floods and landslides affecting many areas and people, political discussions continue to unfold. Today, Abdullah Maharouf, the national organizer of the ACMC, revealed new insights.
Today
the people of the country await two elections. While uncertainty surrounds the general election, various relations are emerging. Within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Duminda Disanayaka's faction is organising a summit on the 8th of June. However, on the 6th, Kanchana Wijayasekara had organised a meeting in Mathura to which the SLPP is not invited. The SLPP leadership explicitly instructed their members not to participate in this gathering. At the same time, there are efforts being made to bring Sajith Premadasa and Ranil Wickramasinghe together, where Ranil Wickramasinghe will be made the presidential candidate and Sajith Premadasa the candidate for Prime Minister. Senior MPs from both parties are meeting in Singapore for this purpose. The final decision on a general election will be made before the 17th. Thereafter, the stance of our party will be made public.
United National Party General Secretary Palitha Rangebandara clarified his position on the proposal to hold a referendum if it is necessary to postpone the elections for 2 years. Rangebandara says that the proposal for a referendum was put forward as per the provisions of the Constitution.
ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ මෙන්න මේ විදිහට සඳහන් වෙනවා. ශ්‍රී ලංකා ජනරජයේ පරමාධිපත්‍ය ජනතාව කෙරෙහි.
The Constitution says that in the Republic of Sri Lanka, sovereignty is in the people and it is inalienable. Sovereignty includes the powers of government, fundamental rights and the franchise. Article 4 of Chapter 1 of the Constitution defines how the sovereignty of the people shall be exercised and enjoyed. Article 86 of Chapter 13 of the Constitution says that the President may, subject to the provisions of Article 85, submit to the people by referendum any matter which, in the opinion of the President, is of national importance. Section 1 and 2 of Article 87 of the Constitution elaborates on the process. 87.1 Every referendum shall be conducted by the Commissioner of Elections, who shall communicate the result thereof to the President. 87.2 Parliament shall by law provide for all matters relating to the procedure for the submission of bills and of matters of national importance to the people by referenda, the register of electors to be used at a referendum, the creation of offences relating thereto, and the punishment therefore, and all other matters necessary or incidental thereto. On any matter that the President considers as one of national importance, the President can call for a referendum. The process is not in violation of the Constitution and it is not at all illegal. I requested opposition leader Sajith Premadasa to put forward the proposal that I suggested and NPP leader Anurukumar Dissanayake to second the motion. It appears that both Sajith Premadasa and Anurukumar Dissanayake do not oppose this proposal, as both of them have not mentioned anything against it.
නැහැ කියලා. මොකද අද වෙනකන් සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්තයාත් අනුකුමාර දිසානායක මහත්මයාත් මේට විරුද්ධව වචනයක්වත් කියලා තියෙනවා මට ඇහුනෙත් නැහැ.
අවසාන අත්‍ර ප්‍රතිඵල විදියට මොකද බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවට ඡන්දයක් නොතිය ඉස්සරහට යන්න.
රටේ මිනිස්සු බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. දේශපාලන
That is what the people want. Political groups have spoken, but have the others spoken?
ඡන්දදායකයෝ කවුද ගැන කතා කරන්නේ?
ඒ සිරිකොත ඉස්සර විරෝධයක් කරේ.
අවුව 7 දෙනෙක් ආවා.
Around 7 people arrived and did something. Social media gave publicity to it. They can protest as they please, as there is freedom to do so. There is no issue.
During Rangi Bandara's press conference at the United National Party headquarters in Sirikota, citizens of the People's Struggle held a protest outside the premises, carrying a symbolic pot as part of their demonstration.
This is regarding the fundamental rights of the 2 million people of this country. Rangi Bandara mentioned that only 7 or 8 individuals attended, spoke briefly and left. We stand here representing the voices of these 22 million citizens. This sentiment echoes the collective will of the people. Calls for a referendum should be quashed. The public is calling for both the presidential election and general election to proceed as scheduled. To delay further would be to risk unsettling consequences. Come tomorrow, we will have a Hitler, and we reject authoritarianism and emphasize the need for a democratic process to select our leaders. The citizens are experiencing immense pressure. Therefore, it is crucial to alleviate this burden by conducting the elections promptly. Do not let this pressure be kept inside for another 2 years. If that happens, the situation will turn different.
The group thereafter smashed the pot on the road opposite Sirikota and left. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa, speaking in Mahawaya, Ampara, commented on the puzzling display of contradictory rhetoric.
ලක්ෂ 220ම මෝඩයෝ ගානට දාලා තමයි අද රටේ පාලකයෝ හැසිරෙන්නේ. බොරුව ස්ථාපනය කරනවා.
Our leaders are operating in a manner where they believe they can deceive the masses. False statements are being propagated, while other groups are also influenced to do the same. They are causing confusion. In the midst of this, they are committing extortion as well. Before this year's end, we shall usher in an era where the well-being of our people prevails. An era marked by decency, transparency and unwavering moral principles. In this new chapter, we will not tolerate the pilfering of public funds. We will pursue those who have stolen from the nation and ensure that justice is served. We will recover every stolen asset and restore every lost asset.
සියලුම හොරකම් අපි පිටු දකින්න පමණක් නෙවෙයි හොරා කාපු සියලුම දෙනා නීතිය හමුවට ගෙන එනවා.
Tissa Karaliyadda, the former Madavachi electorate organizer for the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, officially joined the Samagi Jana Balawegaya. Representing the Anuradhapura district, he previously held positions in the cabinet ministries of Child Development and Women's Affairs as well as the Ministry of Indigenous Medicine. Currently, Tissa Karaliyadda serves as the Madavachi co-organizer of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya. In another development, Dr. Tilak Rajapaksha, a member of parliament from the Ampara district representing the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, has also switched allegiance to the Samagi Jana Balawegaya. Dr. Rajapaksha served as the head of Amaghavela Regional Hospital, the Ampara Health Officer and the Director of Ampara Regional Health Services Office. The government's current struggles, according to National People's Power leader Anurukumar Dissanayake, stem from a paralyzing fear of defeat.
The government's reluctance to hold presidential and general elections reflects vulnerability and embarrassment. Historically, the party in power has directly influenced presidential elections. The president, under normal circumstances, would dissolve parliament and call for new elections. However, constitutional provisions now mandate a presidential vote regardless of the government's wishes. If there is an attempt to delay the elections, just as we, the NPP, have a responsibility, you as the media also have a responsibility. The government's current struggles stem from a paralyzing fear of defeat. This situation presents a unique opportunity for change, as the government clearly fears defeat. We urge the people not to miss this chance to shape the future of the nation.
The IMF Executive Board will take up Sri Lanka's second review on the 12th of June.
The Article 4 consultation and second review under the Extended Fund Facility for Sri Lanka are on the IMF board meeting agenda for the 12th of June. The session will evaluate Sri Lanka's economic policies and reform progress. State Minister Shahan Semasinghe said that Sri Lanka looks forward for continued support of all countries for a successful review to unlock the third tranche, which will further enhance economic stability, growth and reform efforts.
Earlier, the country did not have a targeted economic program. Why did we go to the IMF on 17 previous occasions? We sought their assistance when in trouble and do whatever we please when there is progress until we fall back in trouble again. That is because the country did not have a targeted economic program. We aim to transform our 17th approach to the IMF as our final program. This is the expectation of the President and the government as well as the International Monetary Fund. We hope to make the 17th IMF program the most successful one for Sri Lanka and build a sustainable economy and achieve debt sustainability. The Economic Transformation Bill was introduced to strengthen the economy.
In more local news, Litrogas says that the prices of LP gas products will be reduced. Litrogas chairman Mudita Piri said that the price revision will be made public tomorrow.
In more local news, day 18 of the third phase of the LOLC Divisavia program, which is being carried out for the betterment of Sri Lanka's future generation, got underway today.
Under the Divisavia program, exercise books and stationery equipment required for a year are distributed free of charge to government schools with less than 150 students. Today's program was centered around the Galan Bindunuwava and Kabithigollawa education zones in the Anuradhapura district. Accordingly, school bags and stationery equipment were donated to students of Kanadara Rathmale Vidyalaya, Hibutugollawa Vidyalaya, Mailagaswava Vidyalaya, Isimbasagala Vidyalaya, Siridama Vidyalaya and Alaksha Muslim Vidyalaya. The LOLC Divisavia program continues to forge ahead for the future generation of Sri Lanka.
Donald Trump has promised to stop the war in Gaza. The former US president on Sunday made a dramatic appearance in front of screaming fans at UFC 302 and saved his most extraordinary claim when speaking privately with former UFC world champion Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Khabib Nurmagomedov showed up at a UFC event on Saturday night for the first time in 1.5 years to corner Islam Makhachev to victory against Dustin Poirier. Following that submission win, the former UFC lightweight champion took the opportunity to speak to presidential candidate Donald Trump, who received a raucous standing ovation inside Prudential Center about ending Israel's war against the Palestinian people in Gaza. Footage taken from cage side captured the moment where Nurmagomedov shook hands with Trump, who had been sitting next to Dana White through the entire pay-per-view portion of UFC 302. Khabib appears to tell Trump that he has confidence the former president will end the conflict if elected in November. Trump replies that they are going to stop it.
I gotta see. I think this could be it. Well, if it's 50 times. Thank you, man. I know. I don't know. I got a little girl I love, and I gotta see. I think this could be it.
It's a wild moment that is spreading beyond the usual sphere of UFC influence, with many outlets picking up Trump's seeming support for peace in the troubled region.
Iran's ex-president Mahmoud Ahmadinejad and other divisive figures such as moderate Ali Larijani and ultra-conservative Saeed Jalili have signed up to contest new elections after the death of President Ebrahim Raisi in a helicopter crash last month.
Ahmadinejad, who was president from 2005 to 2013, registered along with dozens of others at the Interior Ministry on Sunday, a day before the sign-up period ends. The politician, who had been largely sidelined following his controversial terms in office, said he is only heeding a call from the people from across the country to run again, and he is confident he can resolve Iran's domestic and international issues. Despite Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei urging him to stay away in 2017, he signed up and was barred from running but chose to not register for the 2021 election. The Guardian Council is scheduled to begin vetting the candidates from Tuesday for 6 days, after which the list of approved candidates will be announced on the 11th of June.
Up next is World Today.
The Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs advised Israeli citizens currently staying in the Maldives to consider leaving the country following the Maldivian government's announcement of a decision to amend its laws to ban Israeli nationals from entering on Sunday. It also recommended that Israeli citizens refrain from traveling to the Muslim-majority island nation even if they hold a second passport from another country. The entry ban on Israelis was adopted during a Maldivian cabinet meeting early on Sunday in response to calls from local citizens citing the Israeli attacks in the Gaza Strip. 4 people were killed in an Israeli air attack on the Nusayrat refugee camp and 6 women and children were reported killed in an attack on the nearby Burej refugee camp in central Gaza. Overnight attacks on residential homes in Khan Yunis killed an additional 12 people, including at least 3 children.
Doesn't matter, no, because
Claudia Sheinbaum won a landslide victory to become Mexico's first female president, inheriting the project of her mentor and outgoing leader Andrés Manuel López Obrador, whose popularity among the poor helped drive her triumph. Sheinbaum, a climate scientist and former mayor of Mexico City, won the presidency with between 58.3% and 60.7% of the vote, according to a rapid sample count by Mexico's electoral authority. That is said to be the highest vote percentage in Mexico's democratic history. The ruling coalition was also on track for a possible 2/3 supermajority in both houses of Congress, which would allow the coalition to pass constitutional reforms without opposition support, according to the range of results given by the electoral authority. Opposition candidate Xochitl Gálvez conceded defeat after preliminary results showed her taking between 26.6% and 28.6% of the vote.
And with that, it's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.